All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much to Carl and to the GAHLA board for the opportunity to address you all this afternoon. Also want to say thank you to Lou for getting me set up and for everything he does for GAHLA. And then a special shout out just to this property, Todd and to Mike, to Amber, to Gabe and Zach from AV team. One, it's exceptional that was talked about earlier, the investment that's happening here, substantial. We are grateful for that, transformative in the way that we're able to tell the story of Albuquerque with these investments and the way we're able to, from a storytelling standpoint, and then to be able to deliver this new product. So thank you for the continued investment on behalf of Legacy and for the way that you welcome me, even with my own special drink. I gave a shout out. This is impressive, the memory on this, so appreciate it. So today, I'm going to be honest with you. Our team equipped me. You heard, we brought quite a few of our team with us. And that's because we want the conversations after I do this presentation, hope that the conversations with our team, just in terms of if you're not maximizing opportunities or you have questions, definitely want our team to kind of carry that forward in terms of those conversations. I have the opportunity to work with an exceptional board of directors. I'd like to acknowledge there's several that overlap here in terms of board. So any Visit Albuquerque board members, will you please rise just so the hotel community knows who is representing them on the Visit Albuquerque board. Thank you so much. And then shout out to our team who are just incredibly talented and dedicated, and I am so thankful to be able to work with them each and every day. And I'll have an opportunity to share the work they are doing here as we zoom through this. A couple of things. Last week was National Travel and Tourism Week. It is an opportunity to recognize the importance of tourism. Everyone in this room, this is an opportunity for me just to remind you that the work that you are doing is meaningful, impactful to our community. And I hope that we think over the last few years, definitely recognition of that, I think, is increasing of the critical role that tourism plays as one of our city's most effective economic development strategies. 6.7 million overnight visitors, $2 billion in spending to this community alone, to the Albuquerque area, and supports 45,000 jobs in Bernalillo County. So you probably suspected that I wasn't going to get up here and talk without talking a little bit about the current state of the U.S. market conditions. So just to set the stage for where we are in terms of and how we're thinking about planning for this year and the future. So the U.S. economy, and I'm just going to share with you, these things are changing rapidly. So I'm bringing to you the latest data that our market and intelligence team had. U.S. economy on shaky ground, driven by the loss in exports, tariff considerations, and then fears about a recession. This latest data is from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, and it shows the U.S. Economy has contracted in the first quarter of 2025. This is the first contraction since the pandemic. So I know everyone is, some of this I'm just going to move through pretty quickly. Consumer spending, I will say, still rose a modest amount in Q1 though. And that should be noted. Concerns for the economy and uncertainty are certainly impacting the U.S. inflation, and the Federal Reserve has decided to hold interest rates due to inflationary risks. And so inflation has remained at a steady growth through the first quarter of 2025, which you will see there. Americans' confidence in the U.S. economy has also declined significantly in the past few months, following a ramp up after last year. So you'll see what that first quarter of this year looked like in terms of consumer confidence. I will say, if you're wondering, I think it's always important to know where we're sourcing this information. So you'll find the source. I may not hit on it every time, but you'll find the source in the left box. Americans, so here's a couple of just headlines. We're seeing these economic results play out in recent media coverage. And so just a few of the recent headlines from varying news sources. This one talking about consumer sentiment, then talking about just their overall outlook on the economy, a couple different news sources there. Consumer spending, a reality was that consumer spending did increase in March, trying to get ahead of tariffs. But also wanted to note that it isn't the full story. When our team dug into the economic, the data by economic class, it is the wealthier Americans that are driving an increase in spending. Middle class and lower class have cut back. And the reason that a marketing agency would pay attention to that is certainly from a strategy standpoint of what travelers are we going after as we look to the future. We're seeing also that how they're planning, this is how Americans are planning to spend their dollars in the next 3 months. Many Americans are planning to cut back on discretionary spending on things like home decor, electronics, and footwear. But it's not just consumer goods, they're also planning to cut back on travel. This is what they say their behavior will be for the next 3 months. 38% said they plan to spend less on hotel resort stays in the next 3 months, and 31% said they plan to spend less on domestic flights. And again, I just want to pause and say this is all relevant. This is changing daily, and so this is just the latest insight we have. We have started to, some of these headlines are just going to address what, from an industry perspective, from a leading standpoint, Southwest CEO said that the U.S. airline industry is already in a recession. Airbnb is forecasting a weak outlook, citing a softness in U.S. travel demand. And Las Vegas has noted that they're already seeing the impacts locally in regards to their overall travel decline from their perspective. Because of this, U.S. Travel Association has downgraded their forecast for 2025 and 2026. The total domestic travel forecast for 2025 was downgraded by 20 million trips, while 2026 was downgraded by 60 million. And this doesn't account for any international visits, so that is something to consider in terms of that's just the domestic travel forecast. I promise I'm going to get to some positive stuff in just a moment. The U.S. travel, so we're going to switch gears to the focus on Albuquerque's travel industry performance. But I kind of thought about each year when we make this annual presentation, I'm coming in today with a realist perspective of what is happening, needed to acknowledge what's happening in the market, what's happening in the industry. Also a commitment from our team to bring the optimism and the positive stories that we just shared, the investments and the things that are happening in our community. And to stay committed to the challenges that our community is facing as well, to ensure that we have resiliency, that we remain competitive and we are resilient. So switching gears to our Albuquerque perspective, hotel room demand, you'll note, has not recovered to pre-pandemic levels. Post-pandemic recovery dipped slightly in 2024 for Albuquerque. The story holds true when we also look at nearby competitor markets like Oklahoma City and Tucson, where room demand has not yet recovered to pre-pandemic. So when we're comparing to our competitors, same story for Oklahoma City and Tucson. On the other hand, did want to note that Portland, Salt Lake City, and Colorado Springs, all in our comp set, have all seen year-over-year growth as well as surpassed pre-pandemic hotel demand. So let's talk a little bit about what are Portland, Salt Lake City, and Colorado Springs doing differently? I'm going to zoom through this, and I'm going to say this is not the full story. I look forward to discussing this with many of you. But they are invested in growing their tourism product. So their hotel room supply has grown over the past 5 years. Albuquerque is the only market that has seen a reduction in room supply during that same period of time when we compare these 5 markets, compared to the other 5 markets. And why is this important? Beyond just a supply perspective, new hotel supply indicates strong economic demand in a region, which spurs new development. So you'll see for Salt Lake City, this includes the creation of a sports, entertainment, culture, and convention district. Development also attracts new spending drivers. So you'll see here such as professional sports with the NHL. And then they have the possibility of a new stadium district that includes proposal for new Major League Baseball. And last but not least, they are going to be the host again for the Winter Olympics for 2034. So in our comp set, something to pay attention, Salt Lake City doing a lot of development. Portland is taking a different approach to growth. They have focused heavily on reputation management, increased public safety efforts specific to their economic corridors, and year-round festivals, events, and programming. And this has paid off with positive investment and growth in tourism including they're going to receive their first Ritz-Carlton property being built in the Pacific Northwest. And then Colorado Springs is also seeing rapid growth in hotel construction. I know some of our hotel owners actually have product in Colorado Springs, as well as an investment in entertainment venues. So I do want to stop here and say Albuquerque, we know, has not had that same, when we talk about tourism product and major catalytic improvements to our overall destination, have not kept pace with some of those competitors. But I do want to acknowledge that there is tremendous investment here from private industry in regards to this hotel, perfect example, many throughout the community. And we also realize there's been a reduction in hotel supply, and as some hoteliers will say, some of that needed to move off the market. So I also want to acknowledge that as well. I also do need to acknowledge, you heard me talk about Portland addressing reputational management, reputational considerations. This is a reality for us that compounded with the tourism development, the lack of tourism development, we are facing some serious reputational challenges. We it's taken some major hits, our reputation in the last number of months, where our city and state are looking to solve some of these challenges, but they have hit the national news. And so just sharing some examples from the New York Times. One was from a couple of months ago, one was just from about 2 weeks ago. The one on the right is just from about 2 weeks ago, sharing the components around the National Guard. So that's a reality for us. We've certainly already had questions from clients and from visitors around what does that mean? Tell us more about it. I'll remind you all, we have talking points for that. If your frontline staff is being asked, we do have talking points around specifically the National Guard. We also have safety talking points as well. But these challenges do have real consequences, so just want to talk about during a highly competitive environment and reputational issues, we saw a year-over-year drop in revenue and demand performance in the first quarter of 2025. So those all of those things combined. So we're going to work, there's a real need for us to work together to increase performance and competitive nature of Albuquerque. So I want to spend a few minutes now switching gears to talk about, these are our commitments of key focus areas in the year ahead. So you see there, and these are things that I think each and every one of us have a role and responsibility in this room, and there are things that are within our control and things that, hey, that's not our focus. I can tell you that our commitment is that we believe we can affect some change on these topics, and so our commitment is that these will be key areas of focus. Reputation, brand management, delivery on that brand promise. So we're out marketing and selling, but working with all of you to say, does that match up with the experience? We've been able to increase significantly that marketing and promotion of Albuquerque. And then word of mouth, to improve the word of mouth promotion of Albuquerque as well, which means how well did that experience go. In terms of experience, advocacy for safety and security, continued focus on customer service and training that will ultimately improve visitor satisfaction, visitor and guest satisfaction. And then on infrastructure, you heard me talk about the competitive nature. We completed a destination master plan last year at the end of the year with a real focus on infrastructure, maintaining a competitive environment and advocacy for improvement in capital improvements, for investment in capital improvements. So a couple of things we wanted to share from a leisure marketing objectives. These are our leisure marketing objectives: to build brand awareness for Albuquerque as a travel destination, to inspire travelers to add Albuquerque to their destination consideration list, and influence travelers to convert. So moving down that funnel, converting those travelers. This is our target market, target audience. It's the curious explorer. They are defined by their behaviors and attitudes and their outlook on life, not necessarily by characteristics. They're their demographics, not age, ethnicity, or marital status. So when they travel, they want to immerse themselves in authentic experiences. They are ideal for Albuquerque because they're inclined to visit cultural museums, try new cuisine, look for destination with great weather and scenery, and then seek out local festivals and events. So that's just a little bit about our profile of our target audience. We call them the Curious Explorers, and we look forward to feedback if these are the folks that you see showing up in your hotels and your businesses when you look at the profile. The Curious Explorer is made up of 3 key persona segments: outdoor recreation enthusiasts, culture and heritage seekers, and then festival and event goers. And there is an overlap between these audiences, which you see here. Each segment has a sizable population of our key ad target markets, and you see there the percentage and volume of the target audiences in our key ad markets. The persona segments also, we've invested pretty significantly in our market and research team, and this is backed by data. Culture, heritage, cuisine, and outdoors are among the top attributes associated with Albuquerque among target travelers and the key issues, key assets for our destination. And you'll see there, key competitors own many of those top attributes, especially outdoor recreation and scenic beauty, but there's still room for growth for Albuquerque to be top of mind in those destination perceptions among those target audiences, especially in relation to our competitors. So these attributes create our leisure content pillars that drive Albuquerque's messaging. So this is the content, the messages from our marketing team focus. So we want to just note that we have efforts in the entire marketing funnel. So you see just looking at all of the various efforts from Visit Albuquerque to drive conversion and loyalty. So it's important that we have something in that full funnel, starting with the awareness and that dreaming component you see there, and then moving down. Target audiences by interest. So this is the umbrella of Curious Explorers, and these are the sub-targets that our team is working in terms of sharing information in regards to Albuquerque. Our digital advertising efforts are focused on 13 feeder markets in California, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, and Texas. So these markets are either within driving distance of Albuquerque or they have direct flights. And among about half of them are traditional ad markets for Albuquerque. We've performed well for a number of years, Denver, Phoenix, and Amarillo. And then about half of them are new markets where we see growth potential, such as Houston, Salt Lake City, and San Diego. Over the past few years, we have definitely increased our advertising presence in airports, and the reason that we've done that is airport passengers are likelier to have higher household incomes, and they're a captive audience. We have all been in those airports, captive audience with long dwell times at gates, and we're able to also reach business travelers that are decision makers there as well. So in airports, you're seeing a little creative there. We're running video ads and static ads, such as window wraps in high visibility areas, but you also see in terminals, including at baggage claim and at concourses and at gates. So that's, it depends on the airport, sort of where you'll find Visit Albuquerque. Earlier this year, so last year you may remember we were in 4 airports. Earlier this year, we were able to expand advertising to 12 airports in 10 cities. DFW, LAX, and Denver International, which are among the busiest airports in the world. So you, if you've traveled through there, hopefully you've seen some of the Visit Albuquerque advertising. Kathy mentioned Sparkloft will be here for the Governor's Conference. That's a new relationship for us. Starting this summer, we're going to significantly increase our paid advertising presence on social media with ads on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. Our research shows that 73% of people in our ad markets use social media daily. And we're working with this new agency that works with DMOs across the country. You're seeing this, you're the first audience to see this. This is the theme of the new ad campaign, and it takes the U in the middle of our city's name and replaces it with images of Albuquerque, inviting travelers to see themselves as the U in Albuquerque. Really clever headlines like "You belong here," "We saved you a window seat," and "It's a lot sweeter when you are here." So here's some of the, kudos to the team in Sparkloft for the work on that. Really excited to launch this, and I think it actually launches next week. Some of the ads incorporate video or animation to emphasize that use, so you can see that there in some of that that was shared. Balloon Fiesta, we made some adaptations. We started our campaign a little later this year because of intelligence in terms of the booking window changing. Campaign launched May 1st, 30-second spot targeting travelers from 13 cities. You see some additional advertising and efforts for Balloon Fiesta. And if you want, there's a dedicated landing page there. Wanted to share our Balloon Fiesta spot with you. You were also the first audience to see this.
Is it possible to describe the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta in just one word?
Breathtaking.
Wondrous.
Joyful.
Spectacular.
Magical.
Beautiful.
Exhilarating.
Whoa, amazing!
What's one word to describe the ExxonMobil Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta? Unforgettable.
All right, just around the corner, some of you have heard about Route 66 Centennial, all the work that's being done to prepare for the Route 66 Centennial. It's technically 2026. We're looking at but we're looking at capitalizing on it with an ad campaign that really initiates this summer. So we're trying to get 18 months from the Route 66 Centennial. So we're already raising the awareness of everything that the city is doing to celebrate the Centennial. Been working very closely with the Arts and Culture Department on activations and events. And there's a new website. I'm hoping maybe you've already checked it out, but this website dedicated to everything happening in Albuquerque around the Centennial. It includes history, a detailed timeline, a calendar of events, themed itineraries, trip planning tools, and then one of the more popular, see that fun little, I love the Roadrunner, countdown to the Centennial. And then a then and now image slider. It has 15 Albuquerque locations that you can do a fun then and now. So I'll let this play for just a moment. This is the timeline that you'll see over 100 years of history here being shared. And then here's an example of that then and now photos, and you can take a look at. Tremendous opportunity with Route 66 and the Centennial, specifically from both a domestic, but also see a tremendous opportunity to increase international travel, something that New Mexico and Albuquerque's volume definitely has opportunity there to increase. A couple of things, travel trade, we've made an investment in enhancing our travel trade opportunities, our travel trade promotion. So ahead of the Route 66, you just heard me talk about international visitor volume. So you'll see we're partnering with the State Tourism Office, with New Mexico Tourism Department, and with Brand USA, U.S. Travel Association, IANTA, and others. Recent highlights, Brenna attended the Brand USA Travel Week in London last fall, and then just recently participated in a European sales mission along with the State Tourism Office in both of those opportunities. And then a recent result of these partnerships and exposure was that Albuquerque, just this week, was able to be part of the European travel trade. Brand USA had a huge mega fam with Europe and UK focus, and it brought top selling agents from Europe to 11 different itineraries. And for Albuquerque, there were 8 German travel agents in Albuquerque earlier this week for an introduction to the city with a focus on Route 66, and Brenna reports that that went very, very well, so that was great. Here are just some other ways that we are participating from a travel trade perspective. We will be participating with IANTA on their Routes of Route 66 FAM. There is a IPW in June. The state and Albuquerque and several other destinations have a major presentation at IPW, largest domestic international show. So a really great opportunity there. It's in Chicago. Last year it was in LA, so it's great to be able to focus on Route 66. And then you'll see National Tour Association Travel Exchange that's listed there. We will be the host of that show in 2028. Albuquerque recently secured that, the National Travel Association for 2028, and a few others. We just recently launched a craft beer pass. I hope you've already downloaded it and are taking part, but these are fun ways for us to share craft beer in Albuquerque with our visitors and with locals as well. So it's an interactive digital pass that we just recently are looking. If you saw those breweries, if you saw somebody that was not on there, always looking to add to that list. A couple of media highlights that we wanted to share, just a dedicated team with Brenna and an agency and others working to secure positive publicity on behalf of Albuquerque, and here are some of the recent media highlights. Going to switch gears from meetings, conventions, and sports, focused on both long-term and short-term strategy and a balanced approach to each market. When we look at the strategy, our data does support that we need to do a focus on citywide meetings, and that's certainly, you've heard me talk about that over the last year. But non-citywides and sports have shorter booking windows, so we're going to look to infill still remaining in 2025 and 2026 to make some positive impact. So sharing future booking performance fiscal year to date, this is through April, so our team still has 2 months for fiscal year to close business. Our team has booked 48,597, you see there, in terms of meetings business. That's a 74% increase year over year. Shout out to that team for that dedicated focus. And then future citywide room nights, 23,883, and that's a 100% increase year over year from a meetings perspective. So some of those strategy shifts effective in regards to and partnerships within this with all of our partners, convention center, hotels, to look to impact those numbers with our sales team. Sports, you'll see the 96,000 future room nights. Little bit different story here with sports, with the decline from a currently 15% year over year. As I said, we still have 2 months to close, so, and you'll see the total there from our team. Talking about pacing, did want to just note positive news here from a meetings perspective. When we look at how we're pacing as we look to future years, definite current years on the left, and then comparing it to the same time last year for the year prior. So just an opportunity, positive news there in terms of pacing as we look to the future. And this is citywide meetings, same story there in terms of positive when we look at the future in terms of how we are pacing from a citywide meetings. Sports is a slightly different story. You will see some declines there. Please know, and I'm about to show you some of the efforts, really a tremendous team here. And this is, I think, an attribute. There's a couple different factors here. There has been some retraction. Some of the things that used to be citywide sports groups, those we have not seen those rooms coming in, those teams or the participants in as strong a fashion. I'd say youth baseball is an example where there's a little retraction in that market. There's also a nature of cyclical booking cycles. So we had a banner year last year. So when it's a banner year, we hosted so many different governing bodies. They're not going to repeat to cities, so there's going to be a cyclical nature to those. And I think it's also a reminder to us just to make sure that every one of those events has a positive experience because of that word of mouth. We just want to make sure that they know Albuquerque delivers a strong sports tourism offerings. So this is some of the group business strategy. So we're looking at what we can do different. You heard some of those realities in terms of the markets. We've certainly seen many of you in this room have been partners with us discussing some realities in terms of postponements or cancellations of recent. Just want to invite the conversation that to look to solve this. What can we do to be competitive in this environment? And it's definitely a collaborative effort. And increase from our team's commitment, just what you will have noticed over the last year, increased prospecting from our team over in recent past. Also shifting industry, data-driven approach to remain competitive and resilient. You heard that we've invested significantly in our research and data intelligence team. One of the areas that we're focusing heavily is on science technology, on that STEM market, and stay tuned. I think you're going to hear more from us in regards to specific strategies there. We have a big opportunity with the IEEE Quantum Week later this year, citywide at the Convention Center. Here are some ways that we're looking at site and destination experience from a strategy perspective. and some of the shifts that we have made in regards to that site and destination experience. Many of you have been part of conversations around just in looking to enhance and improve those site and destination experiences. A couple of things I wanted to highlight. Smart meetings. We just hosted 13 meeting planners. Exceptional job. You see a photo there from the convention center. Did a really creative job with the smart meetings. So with future business opportunities there. We've had a lot of enhancements that we have a group. This is a big week for Albuquerque. The Association of Children's Museums is in town, and the Council for Higher Education Management Association, a smaller group, but each of them have the opportunity to bring additional business. So our team has, along with our partners in all of those endeavors, looking to really wow both of those groups. New efforts from our team have been, if you haven't seen it, I invite you to take a look at the new Convention Welcome Center that's actually at the corner of 3rd and to Harris, across from the Convention Center. Here are some examples, and it recently just got a new improvement inside as well with a new wall wrap. There's a photo booth in there. Our team has been working rideshare driver outreach. That is something we hear routinely in terms of just making sure that our locals are our best ambassadors and that first impression is strong. So there's been rideshare driver outreach. We have also added a number of enhancements, and this is one this week that's pretty special. I don't know if you've been in the downtown area, hopefully you have seen this. These are wrapped Ubers and Lyfts with Visit Albuquerque branding. See them parked there in front of the convention center. As I said, it was a big week. We wanted to capitalize on making sure we did something with a wow factor for the attendees. They were offering free rides within 3 miles for attendees of those 2 shows. And in addition, we've paid for additional block service by block by block, so enhancing the service downtown from block by block. Airport transportation, we've been working with partners on free airport transportation for groups. Extending transportation to other areas of the city are just some of the ways that we're looking to enhance that overall experience for attendees to improve meeting attendee satisfaction. Bring your meeting home. Did want to note everybody's part of a group or an organization. We just really are encouraging locals to play a role in bringing a meeting home. Don't want to lose sight of that. Meetings marketing, we are talking about new things we're doing. We are partnering with a brand new agency for our meetings marketing. We have just recently initiated a relationship with Digital Edge it's an agency that focuses solely on meetings and sports marketing. And you'll see there they were founded by a destination organization, director of sales and director of marketing. So they really understand the industry, and we're looking forward to how they're going to evolve our brand positioning for the meetings marketing and the sports market. Here's some examples of work that we'll be doing with them, cooperatively with them from a meetings marketing goal. Just examples of where that focus will be. Sports video, we just talking about initiatives. Last year, I mentioned we had a banner year, so it gave us an opportunity. This was a full year-long project to capture those sporting events that were taking place in Albuquerque, and we produced a 2-minute sports anthem, and then also a series of 50-second and 30-second commercials.
In Albuquerque, the spirit of competition meets the soul of the Southwest. The Albuquerque Sports Commission invites you to discover a city built for champions. Our state-of-the-art facilities transform into premier venues for indoor track, gymnastics, boxing, and so much more. Experience the thrill of outdoor sports, intensified by our adventurous spirit. From archery in grassy fields to bike racing on winding mountain roads, Albuquerque offers boundless options for hosting sports events. But Albuquerque is more than just a sports destination. It's a city abundant in culture, with rich flavor and thriving traditions. Our vibrant city will take your breath away. From the heat of our chili to fiery nights of flamenco, here, poetry is in everything. As the poet once said,
"We be of the earth and out of this world at the same time. We are your favorite city's favorite city, the heart of the Southwest, just a little to the left in New Mexico's chest."
Albuquerque's stunning scenery and high elevation make it the perfect place for athletes to train and compete. Come run with us. Feel the heat and get moved by the rhythm of Albuquerque. Let our unique blend of sports, culture, and natural beauty change your perspective.
Produced with local production opportunities as well through Core Visual, so that's great. Here are some upcoming citywide meetings. I mentioned Quantum Week, that is a huge opportunity for us in the fall, really to model how we can do a great job with STEM conferences and with the key thought leaders that we have here in our community. Here's some upcoming citywide sports events, just a snapshot as we look to the summer, and you'll see there U.S. Archery will be back in Albuquerque this summer at Balloon Fiesta Park with their national open archery competition, so that's great. I want to just finalize talking about Destination Master Plan. So I really love when we think about our destination development and the work that we do in tourism. I think from an economic development standpoint, this tells the story really well. It's called the Community Vitality Wheel. I won't today read it, but read the entirety, but it does, the notion is that it all starts with a visit. So if it starts with a visit, if you build a place where people want to visit, it does. It's a place where people want to live. If you have a place that people want to live, people will want to work. The notion is that's all connected. Talent retention, people wanting to be in this community, converts to the work opportunities. And if you build a place where business and residents will then you're going to build a place where people invest, and how it all works together. So this notion that it all starts with a visit, nobody's ever moved a company or moved to a community without visiting it first, or very few people, I think. Maybe sometimes it happens. But that's something that I really think from a future moving forward is just that recognition of the critical role that tourism plays in regards to economic development. And it is an opportunity. The communities that have leaned in heavily to tourism, those other things follow. Tourism is usually the leading factor of getting those communities to that next level, and then quickly behind you have those young professionals that are wanting to move there. They like the quality of life, continued investment there. Destination Master Plan really, just a reminder of what the Destination Master Plan was looking to address. And from our standpoint, you'll start to hear more from us, really looking to ensure that we keep this plan is a living document, fluid, and we benefit from the work being done there. In fact, we have a couple of conversations coming up at our office, specific to a couple of key sectors, attractions and restaurants, both next Tuesday at our offices with focus group conversations. So please invite anyone to join up from those audiences to join those conversations. Our tourism grant program is open. Thanks to the Albuquerque Tourism Marketing District, the hotels championing that effort. This is our third year to be able to grant money to those doing innovative and meaningful work in the tourism industry to push us forward for new experiences. So that funding is open. You see the details there, that it does application deadline. So please spread the word. There's incubators you don't have to match, up to $10,000, no match required, and then those larger grants do require some matching. And those can be another grant. They could match another grant with our grant for those innovator grants. And we will continue. We've some new events. Hopefully you're reading our e-newsletters that our team spends so much time on, and you'll see some new events, and this one was the Your Morning, Your Impact. There'll be another one of those focused on that Destination Master Plan discussion. So I wanted to just end, again, kind of coming back to this. As you have seen today, our team, some new efforts, you heard some new partners, some new initiatives to see if we can convert at a higher level, try some new things for positive opportunities for Albuquerque. We're committed to working with you for resiliency for our future. And as I mentioned, I have the honor of working with an exceptional board and team that is dedicated to this. They're tenacious, creative, and solution-oriented. But I have to be honest, I think we're at a critical juncture. Our community's at a critical juncture. We've got to address these headwinds that we're feeling. Some of them are outside of our control. Talked about from a national perspective, things like that. are outside of our control, but there are some headwinds here locally, some challenges that we need to, as a community, continue to work together, to collaborate, so that we do, you saw that marketing that's going out on behalf of Albuquerque, we're making that promise, so we need to make sure that when those visitors are here, we're delivering on that brand promise. And I think each of us in that cycle, there's a sales, marketing, investment, operations, service, in this room, people playing different roles there, and recognizing, hey, this is my lane. This is where I can positively impact and affect change. So from our standpoint, these are things we think we can positively impact and affect change. Many of these things require working with all of you. This is not alone. And so I just hope that there's a commitment, that there's a commitment from our team. We take this seriously, the work we do on your behalf. We know how important it is to our community, and our commitment is to work for that resiliency for this year. And we look forward to hopefully inspiring each of you with your teams, just to find ways that each day we can more positively impact that guest experience. So thank you very much.